Hey guys, welcome back to Shep Talk Movie Review. Today we will be reviewing Terminator Dark Fate, the sixth movie in the Terminator series, franchise now, however you want to call it. But first, quick admin note. If you do like what you see here, guys, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. It helps my channel out greatly, and I truly appreciate it. Quick synopsis. A Terminator is sent from the future to take out a human named Danny Ramos that has done stuff in the future. Does it sound familiar? It pretty much is. Now, first off, let me get something out of the way. So Terminator Dark Fate takes place right after T2. So they've come out and said, hey, T3, T4, T5, you guys don't really exist anymore. Terminator 1, 2, and 3, that's the current timeline. And I'm going to come out and say it. If people think it's an unpopular opinion, I don't care. I think it's disrespectful to the movies that came before, Dark Fate, and I didn't like it when they did it for Halloween. To me, it's just showing the director, the studio, the actors, everybody that worked on the movies beforehand, that their work isn't considered good enough. I get it. Some people don't like the Terminator 3 and Salvation and Genesis. That's fine. They weren't great movies in my opinion, but they were still enjoyable. They weren't downright bad. They didn't put a sour taste in my mouth. And actually, I kind of did like Genesis and where it was trying to go. Now, if you want to go this route, I think you should have gone the Star Trek universe when J.J. Abrams took over, and it wasn't we're not going to count the movies on, that happened beforehand. No, they did it a parallel dimension or timeline. And so everything that took place in the original Star Trek movie universe still mattered. And J.J. Abrams had a parallel timeline that he could work with. That, in my opinion, works better than going, hey, you know what? These other movies that came before this, they don't matter anymore. They don't count. Who cares about them? In my opinion, that just puts a sour taste in my mouth, and I just wanted to get that off my chest because if you're going to do something right, if you're going to do something and you're going to say the others don't matter, make sure your movie is better than what came out prior to it. So let's try to start positive. After I just went off on that tirade. I have to say, when I heard Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger were coming back for a bigger type role in this movie, I was nervous. It's like Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger are up there in age, and I just didn't know what was going to happen. But man, did I kind of enjoy them on the screen. Linda Hamilton, she's the badass queen, right? She's up there with Sigourney Weaver and as Ripley in Aliens. Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor is just, a badass. And especially in this movie where she's had years, she's on the road now. She's it's in I think it's 2020 is when this movie actually takes place. So from when Terminator 2 ended to now, she's had this time. She hasn't been sitting around, knitting sweaters and stuff like that. She's actually been going out and finding other Terminators or, and taking care of them. So, and Arnold Schwarzenegger and his Terminator, Arnold and the T-100 is just, they're meshed together. He does them so well. He gets in that character, because it is a character. It does have, and it's just like, I really kind of enjoyed him on screen, especially as the Terminator. And then when Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger are on screen together, that chemistry is just great. It's fun. I had some laugh out loud moments and stuff like that. Them on screen was really good. Now, we do have two new characters in this movie. I guess three if you count the new Terminator. But first, Mackenzie Davis. She plays the human that's now being sent back in time to protect Danny Ramos. And she does an okay job. My gripe with her, and it's just, she was great in her action scenes, and I enjoyed them, but the interaction, the connection between all the other players in this movie, I just didn't really feel it. I didn't feel the connection. She's supposed to have this connection, just like, I'm not spoiling anything, just like Kyle Reese and John Connor, they're supposed to have this connection, but I don't really feel it. Like, they try to do this twist again in this movie, and if you're paying attention, you're gonna figure out this twist before they even announce it, say it. But I just didn't really feel it. I get it, she's a soldier from the future, and she's supposed to be stoic, I guess, and whatnot, but it just felt kind of forced to me. Don't get me wrong, she's a great actress when it comes to, like, the action scenes were really well done. I thought that, she killed it in those things. But just when it came to, like, the character development and the interaction and growth with the other characters, I found it lacking. And then we get Natalie Reyes, who plays Danny Ramos, and she is pretty much AKA the Sarah Connor / John Connor character. Overall, she was good. The one complaint I would say about her that I had was there's one part where she's supposed to be giving this, like, hoorah, emotional, let's do the fight thing, and it just fell flat to me, man. Seeing her, in that role at that time, I was just like, I don't get it. Maybe it's because I'm still seeing this girl at the beginning of the movie that doesn't know pretty much how to shoot a gun or how to fight or anything, and then you're going to give me this kind of Danny that's supposed to be inspirational and get people to do something. I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know if it was just how the speech was written, or how it was directed, or how she was acting, but it just didn't feel right to me. But everything else besides that, I thought she did an outstanding job. She playing that, that character that all of a sudden her life is just yanked out from under her. Her people are dying around her. This machine sent from the future is trying to kill her. She's trying to figure out what's going on, and in her emotional scenes when she's actually like crying or having this talk with her family, or just trying to figure things out, you really get that connection. And as I mentioned earlier, sticking with the positives, right, of this movie, the action scenes were just over the top and really fun. This is now 2019. The Terminator, the stuff you can do on camera and CGI and after in post-production, I mean, it's just, you can tell it's light years from what it was when James Cameron was directing the first and second Terminator. It's really well done. And the first, I'm not even going to say the first opening scene, but the first kind of transition from the opening to, the Terminator arriving and, going after Danny. I thought that was really well done. There's like a WTF moment that really took me by surprise because I hadn't heard about it. So I kind of wasn't expecting it, though I kind of heard something when I was standing in line for the screening, and I was like, holy crap, wow, I didn't think they were going to go there, and they did. And then just seeing Grace, who's is played by Mackenzie Davis, and the new Terminator arriving, was pretty good too, because then I really thought the action scenes on there were really well done. The chemistry between Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger are really great. But then I start getting into the nitpicky part. And like I kind of mentioned at my opening, if you're going to tell me that Terminator 3, Terminator 4, Terminator 5 don't exist anymore, I'm expecting you to come at me with something different. I'm expecting you to come at me with something great. And I want to be blown out of my seat. And I'm not blown out of my seat by this movie. Terminator 6 Dark Fate is pretty much a rehash of pretty much almost every Terminator we've seen in the past. Terminator 2, Terminator 1. James Cameron pretty much went back to the well. The only thing he did was it's not Kyle Reese anymore. It's Grace that comes down to help. It's not Sarah Connor. It's now Danny Ramos. It's taking place in Mexico and Texas instead of, what was it, New York? I can't remember now. Or was it Chicago? I can't remember. But the storyline's the same, right? There's this human that's in the past that does something in the future that angers the robotic overlord in the future. So the robotic overlord sends one Terminator into the past to kill the human. And then the humans send a human back who is not prepared at all to help defend that person. Man, I'm telling you, I get the writing logic and stuff like that, but the simple fact, if I'm going to send someone back into the past, I'm going to make sure they know about the stuff that happens in the 21st century, especially 2020. Cell phones, surveillance cameras, drones, all this stuff that the human doesn't seem to understand or can't grasp because hasn't happened in like 20 years where they're from. But yet they're from, as a kid, it's pretty much the humans are sent back with no plan whatsoever on how to take out a Terminator in the day and age that they will be with. They know they're not going to have any, clothes. They know they're not going to have any weapons, etc., etc. And there's like just so much little thought. And I get it. They tried to do a little bit better, and they have, like I said, Grace isn't just a pure human, and we see it a little bit in the trailer, but I'm trying to stay away from too much spoilers just in case you haven't seen the trailer. But to me, it's felt too repetitive. I knew what was going to happen. We all know what's going to happen from A to Z. They try to throw new things in. We've seen the T-100 be a buddy to the humans in Terminator 2. It gets me. Some of the CGI was a little lackluster, especially when they try to do flashbacks and they're doing the de-aging process. It was not good. You can tell that they weren't using the Marvel de-aging process. Like I said, some of the acting was just, in certain moments, I don't know, again, if it was the director or the writing or, the actor didn't know how to present this onto screen correctly. But it didn't feel, the connection wasn't there all the time. So yeah, I've struggled with this one because, yeah, it's enjoyable. It's almost a summer popcorn movie where I say, go in there, turn off your brain. It's a Terminator movie. You're going to get what you expect. But being October, I'm just, it's not that soon that it's supposed to be, the company thinks they're going to lose money on this. It's not in January, February time frame. But so I struggled. I was entertained, but it was pretty much regurgitated, writing that we'd seen before with nothing really new to add to this. Except for they're like, okay, in Terminator 1 we had the T-100, in Terminator 2 we had the T-1000. So, brilliant idea. Let's put the T-1000 over the T-100 and they can separate and still, they can fight each other, separately, but then they can come back and meld. It was just, I didn't, it was, I'm not going to say garbage, but I think it was lazy writing in my opinion. And so when I was struggling with this and I was talking to someone, they go, well, was it better than Rambo Last Blood? Because I gave that one 2.5 Sheps. And I had to think, I stopped and I thought. I was like, I was more entertained in Terminator than I was in Last Blood. So I didn't feel that giving it 2.5 Sheps was right. So I'm going to give it 3 Sheps out of 5. It came very close to getting 2.5 Sheps. I think those of you that are Terminator fans will enjoy it, especially for the nostalgia, because James Cameron, coming back to the franchise. But really, I'd rather go back and watch Terminator and T2, and I'd get the same enjoyment out of that than I would going back and watching Dark Fate. So guys, that's all I got. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you at the next one.